Hi, welcome to Guide to Fluency, where we review language programs and apps to help you on your language learning journey. Today I'll be reviewing the German language program from Babbel. I'll break down what the Babbel learning framework is all about, how Babbel compares to other apps in terms of pricing, pros, cons, and of course, whether I think the Babbel German course is worth using to learn German. We also have a detailed written review over on our website in case you need more information. All you have to do to get there is Google Guide to Fluency, Babbel German Review. Compared to other language programs that are centered around receptive language skills, listening and reading, or productive language skills, speaking and writing, Babbel takes a more holistic approach to learning German. Their lessons incorporate aspects of writing, speaking, reading, and listening, as well as grammar. Babbel believes this balanced approach is the most effective learning method for developing the language skills to communicate in German. To augment what you learn in the standard lessons, Babbel regularly prompts you to complete review sessions, as well as adds in games, podcasts, and stories to ensure that new vocabulary moves through the 6 memory stages of the brain. So that's really the Babbel learning framework in short. Essentially, the company incorporates the 4 essential skills of basic language competency into a short, engaging lesson format and consistently reinforces what you've learned through review sessions and other games. So with that in mind, let's talk about pricing and how Babbel's pricing compares to other German language programs. Babbel lands near the more affordable end of the language learning industry. Their subscription options range from around $8 to $15 a month, which puts Babbel in line with apps like Rosetta and Mondly, but much cheaper than Pimsleur or Rocket German, for example. Honestly, I think Babbel offers a pretty solid value. Also keep in mind that Babbel is almost always running some sort of sale or promo, so definitely make sure to check the description below. I'll do my best to keep the description updated with the most current coupon codes I can find, so make sure to check that out prior to purchasing. Alright, now that we've covered the Babbel learning framework and pricing, let's move into the pros and cons that stood out as I tested this program. Let's start with the positives. First off, I'm a big fan of Babbel's lesson format, mainly for 2 reasons. The first being that the lessons are short. The lessons all take about 5 to 10 minutes to complete, which is ideal for most people. If we're all being honest, the average person doesn't have an hour to dedicate to learning German each day. So the fact that you can easily squeeze a lesson into your day with Babbel is great. When you get a lesson every day, you constantly feel like you're making progress. Yes, it would be nice to be able to get longer amounts of practice in, but if you can't fit 30 to 40 minute lessons into your day, it's easy to feel discouraged and become inconsistent in your lesson frequency. Being able to fit a short lesson into every day is essential for making progress. The Babbel lessons are also fun. They move fast and mix in a ton of different quick drills and exercises across reading, writing, speaking, and listening, which keeps the learning process fun and engaging. Pro number 2 is Babbel's speech recognition software, and I know every language company claims to have the best speech tool. But Babbel's is actually good. It's easy to use, it's quick, and in my experience, it's one of the more accurate speech tools out there. So as far as pronunciation feedback goes, you don't have anything to worry about with Babbel. Their speech recognition technology is right up there with Rocket German. Alright, pro number 3, I think Babbel does a really good job with grammar instruction. Rather than piling on long, boring, textbook-style explanations, Babbel instead subtly integrates grammar insights into their lessons. These grammar insights are simple, short, 1 to 2 sentence explanations, followed by a couple of quick examples. That way you have a basic understanding of the various rules behind German speech patterns. Because sometimes I think if there's too much focus on grammar, it can be too overwhelming and actually slow down the learning process. But luckily, Babbel makes grammar concepts easier to digest. Next, I want to highlight Babbel's review sessions. So not only do I like that Babbel regularly prompts you to complete these review sessions for material retention, but I also like that Babbel gives you the choice of how you want to review, which is pretty unique. You get to pick between flashcards, listening, speaking, or writing. That way, if you feel like you need more practice in a certain area, maybe you want to practice your pronunciation, for example, you can select speaking and really start to hone in on your verbal skills. Lastly, I have to mention Babbel's digital platform and mobile app. The user experience is awesome regardless of whether you're on a desktop or your phone. It's clear the company has spent significant resources making sure their platform is modern, intuitive, and easy to use. Now that we've covered the pros, it's only fair we also get into the cons. And my first complaint is I wish Babbel included more in-depth verbal practice exercises. The ones included within lessons are fine, but they're just a little more basic than I'd prefer. You're really just asked to listen and repeat words and phrases. Instead, I wish the exercises were more challenging or required spontaneous language usage. Something that stimulates an actual in-depth conversation, similar to what Rocket German offers. And lastly, because the verbal practice exercises are kind of elementary, I don't think Babbel is the ideal choice for advanced learners. Babbel will work great for beginners or even intermediate learners, but once you reach a certain level of fluency, you really need conversational practice to keep progressing. And unfortunately, you'll just start to plateau with the standard Babbel lessons. So as you progress into the advanced realm, you may want to consider Rocket German with their simulated conversations. Time for my final verdict, but before I get to that, I'd like to mention that here at Guide to Fluency, we're on a mission to help 1 million people learn a second language. As part of that mission, we're giving away a free language learning subscription to one lucky person every month. It's super simple to enter. All you have to do is check out the description below for all the details. I'll keep all the information there, and who knows, you could win a Babbel subscription. All right, time to answer the big question. Is Babbel a good choice for learning German? Well, at this point, I've tested well over a dozen German language programs, and I definitely think Babbel is one of the best, especially for beginners. The lessons are short, fun, and engaging. You get exposure to receptive language skills as well as productive language skills. Not to mention, Babbel does pretty much everything else pretty well. Their speech recognition software is top-notch, and the user experience across desktop and mobile is awesome. Plus, it doesn't hurt that the standard Babbel subscriptions are very affordable. Really, the only issue is that once you reach an intermediate to advanced level of fluency, you'll likely want to sign up for Rocket Languages. Other than that, Babbel is a rock-solid choice for learning German. That's all I have for you today. Hope you found this video helpful. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more language learning content. Bye for now.